Have you ever wondered why rooftop tents are so damn expensive? I'm gonna compare a $3,500 23Zero tent to a $1,800 Ironman tent. If you like overlanding, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see all the newest videos. Now, the two tents we're gonna be comparing today, our budget tent is going to be the Ironman Nomad 1300, which is not really a budget tent. Let's look at the price here. Right now it retails for $24.99, but Ironman has sales all the time. So you can easily get this tent at 25% off, which is $624.75 off, which makes this tent $1,874.25. Now that is a great budget version of this tent. And now our top of the line tent that we're comparing the Ironman to is gonna be the 23Zero Armadillo X2, which is a brand new tent for 23Zero, and it's awesome. If you wanna see a full walk around on either of those tents, check the description below. I'll have links to those videos where you can see the full walk around of these tents in all their glory. Now the Armadillo X2 retails from 23Zero's website for $34.99, and they do go on sale, but not very often. Again, it's a premium tent. They don't have to offer sales to sell them because they sell out as soon as they get them. The reason I'm comparing these two tents is because they are almost an apples to apples as far as rooftop tent design goes. It's the iCamper style with the hard shell side fold up and the half platform fold out. So it's a very good comparison for these two tents, although they are on opposite ends of the price spectrum. So let's dig deep and figure out why these tents cost what they cost. Starting off with the overall aesthetics of the tent, the kind of the fit and finish of the exterior as it sits on a vehicle, what people are gonna see driving down the road. Now the 23Zero tent is a gloss finish. It's a little bit different design as far as the molding of the hard shell, and it is definitely a little bit higher profile. I think it's probably an extra, just by my eye, maybe an extra 2 inches taller, which again, if you have clearance issues, might be something to consider. In my application, not a big deal at all. It just means that I have to be careful going through drive-through windows, which I hardly ever do. Now, this tent is beautiful. The gloss finish on it is just impeccable. It came with 0 scratches on it, which just speaks to the way that they're shipped and just the attention to detail in the shipping process. It's definitely well packaged, no problems at all with the shipping. Now the Ironman Nomad 1300 is gonna be a more basic design. There's no clear coat, it's just the plastic itself. It's got a texture to it. The Ironman logos, which I hate that are on there, they're actually already starting, the edges are peeling up, and I've had this tent for maybe 5 months. So there's a little bit of fit and finish, not the prettiest tent. The trim along the edge is just okay. It's, you know, it's not, there's gaps in it where you can see the plastic under the trim along the edge bottom. It's just not pretty. In the looks category, the 23Zero is definitely the winner. Now let's talk about setup. How fast and efficient is it to set up each of these tents? We'll start with the Ironman. Now, one of my biggest complaints about setting up the Ironman tent is definitely these latches. They are terrible. There's 3 of them. It's a double buckle, and getting this off with the Velcro, because the Velcro sticks to itself as you try to get these off, it's horrible. I usually only do the double buckle on the front and the back, and then leave it open in the middle, just because it is such a pain to do, especially when these get wet and cold, like when we were in Colorado. On back road to Mountain West, it was horrible. So I definitely, my biggest complaint are these latch system. You'd think they would spend the extra little bit of money and do something a little bit better. Another complaint is the fabric folds under right here at the pivot point, and then it won't lock into place. So 4 minutes and 58 seconds as a total time with all the windows, with the spring rods put in, a complete setup, not including, of course, my Amazon Air mattress that I have, because I have to have a better air mattress because the mattress in this thing is terrible. Let's see what the 23Zero Armadillo X can do. Four minutes and 32 seconds. Setup time is pretty much negligible. However, the quality of the setup itself was a different story. The 23Zero, where all the spring rods insert into the frame of the tent, is much cleaner. It's definitely, you know, that's where they go. On the Ironman, I have one hole that's double drilled, so I have to look every single time to make sure I'm putting it in the right hole. And they're just drilled into the aluminum. There's no reinforcement to it. The 23Zero's got reinforced like a steel tab in front of it so that it can't just get reamed out because it's just aluminum. So there's definitely a lot more fit and finish detail that makes the 23Zero one step ahead. Now, as far as the interior of the Ironman, let's just start with the ladder. I've never liked this ladder. It creaks like crazy and it wobbles. I mean, it's just horrible. Even my wife getting up in it, it just creaks like crazy. Now look at the inside. The inside actually looks nice. I mean, it is a attractive inside with all the different variations of gray. It's not a bad looking tent. However, the back wall of the tent, the glue that holds the fabric to the hard shell plastic is actually coming unglued. There's quite a few spots that are drooping. You can see them there up in the left corner. And it's just very unattractive and something that shouldn't be happening in a tent that is less than a year old. Now, dimensionally, these two tents are almost the same size. The Ironman tent is actually a little bit bigger in the width. Other than that, it is dimensionally the same. So we're talking apples to apples here as far as the tent. This is a view of the tent with the windows all closed up. And the material is okay. I mean, it's a ripstop material. It's really not that bad of a material itself. However, all the seam seals on all the windows are starting to delaminate, and that is not good for the rain. Ask me how I know. This tent leaked on me in Colorado during a massive rainstorm that we got. It was coming through the very top rain cover and seeping through the seams onto me while I was sleeping. Got my sleeping bag all soaked. Was definitely not a happy camper. It does come standard with 2 pockets on each side for storing your items there when you're sleeping. And also a huge negative on this tent is going to be the thickness of the pad. Now this pad is maybe 3/4 an inch thick, and it is terrible. It is by far the worst pad I've ever had in a tent, so much so that I had to go to Amazon and get myself a new pad, an inflatable one. I will put a link in the description for that video on how you can hack your way to a better sleep overlanding, and it will definitely improve the sleep of this tent because this thing is absolutely terrible. Now I'm going to close up the tent and just kind of show you how dark it gets in here if you are someone who likes to sleep in, and this will allow you to sleep in if that's something you like to do. So it's not terrible. There's still a lot of light leaking in through the material itself. Obviously the back wall is going to be very dark, and the roof is pretty dark as well. Also on the roof here, there's this rod that basically holds the material up, and with this thing down, the material lays so low that you can actually, touch your head and then it'll drip on you. So you have to use this rod to kind of push everything up. However, where it's pushing up, it's leaving actual wear marks in the material of the roof of the tent. And I've probably used this specific tent maybe 10 times, and I'm already getting a lot of wear and scuff in the material. All right, let's check out the interior of the Armadillo X2. Now, just stepping on the ladder of the X2 is definitely much more positive. It doesn't creak, it doesn't bend. Now, the inside of the 23Zero, like I said earlier, is a bit narrower than the Ironman. However, that does not make a difference at all, because this tent is absolutely beautiful. The way the orange of the mattress lights up this whole tent just kind of gives it a much more open feel where you can kind of see everything. It just adds a little bit more light in here. And the back wall, look how just solid that looks. Nothing is drooping. Everything is very tight against that wall. And this is beautiful. It's got 2 pockets on either side. So each person has 2 pockets to put all your accessories in. And again, this is an X-frame. That means that the back wall is a double hinge. So there's actually more headroom. So I can push, if I want to sleep the other way, my head can go all the way down there and have lots of room for sleeping. And there's also a back window, which will give us access to a little pocket when this is closed. Another accessory 23Zero does is light bars. There's a light bar in the back. Also a little light bar here in the front that's all USB charge. So all you need is a USB power source and you can get yourself some light inside and out. Now, one of my favorite features of this tent specifically is the thickness of the pad. This is, I don't know, I'm using my eyeball here, but I would have to say this is a 2.5 inch, 2.25 inch thick pad. It is really nice. Just sitting on this thing and sleeping on it is super comfortable. Again, it's got the nice soft microfiber cover on it, which just gives it that really nice positive feel. And you also won't slide if you're in a sleeping bag. Here inside the 23Zero, again, this cover, and it's not just a fabric cover. There's actually, I don't know, maybe a thin foam to kind of give it a little bit of a cushion to it. So if you were to whack your head on it, it's not just fabric covering up plastic, but it's actually got a little bit of give to it. It's really nice. These pockets here, nice big pockets. You can store all your gear. Now I'm going to close up the door. If you like to sleep in, this is how much light you will have. Now I know the camera's going to adjust, but right now it is absolutely pitch black. I can't see my hand in front of my face right now. It is so dark in here. There's one tiny little spot in the corner here with a little bit of light leak, if you can see that. But that's literally, I mean, you're able to see because of the quality of the camera, the actual light coming in through the zipper. That's how dark it is in here. It is pitch black. This is what the tent's going to look like with all the windows rolled up and the mesh all showing. Lots of breeze immediately coming through here. It's a warm day here in the Arizona winter and I am sweating, but with this breeze coming in, it is much, much nicer. Now, to address some of the issues I had with the Ironman tent, the seam seal on this fabric is just beautiful. It looks like it's almost heat shrunk together on there. I mean, it is just completely sealed in. All these seams, they're absolutely impeccable. I'm not seeing any spot on here where there's even an inkling of delamination. The way the hard shell on the X2 kind of comes up and pivots up, it actually gives a nice angle, so you don't need that extra guide bar that the Ironman tent has. Is basically just a nice droop down from the top of the hard shell here to the first bar. And this also allows you to have a nice sunroof so that if you're a stargazer, you can see everything you want to see from the comforts of inside your tent. To sum it up for the interior, as far as the comfort of the sleeping pad, the 23Zero wins hands down. It is double the thickness and twice as comfortable as the Ironman easily. In the ladder and vestibule category, I definitely give the win to 23Zero. The ladder is much more solid. In the vestibule, you could tell it's just a beefier setup with having the bar and not the guide rods. It's going to be a much more durable way to put the shoes on, especially if the cover gets soaked in the rain and there's water in there. It's not going to hang down on you in the front. On the inside of the tent, the 23Zero wins hands down as far as the darkness of the material, the light suppression technology, being able to keep that heat out of the tent longer in the morning than the Ironman would, and also just the fit and finish, the seams, the back wall of the hard shell cover, the lining, all of those components allow the 23Zero just to win hands down in every category. It's going to be just a much better sleep. You're not going to be wondering if you're going to wake up with water on you in the middle of the night with that 23Zero. the final test. Are you able to close up both tents with this massive sleeping bag inside of it, and how long does it take? So that's it. The Ironman does close down. It took me 4 minutes, 24 seconds to get it all closed up with the double sleeping bag inside of there. I got the sleeping bag in the tent. Let's see how it does. The Armadillo X2 did close with the double sleeping bag in there. There's also a larger pocket behind the whole tray that you could access from that back window. So that's a good spot for more bedding. I think you can put 2 pillows in there. I will definitely test that out. I didn't bring pillows with me, so I can't do that today, but I will definitely test that out in the future. And 4:13 is a pretty reasonable time. It's, you know, what, 12 seconds, 11 seconds faster than the Ironman, which again, not a big deal, it's negligible. However, it is just time saving. Before I get into which one would I buy and which one do I think that you should buy, let me talk about what I like about each tent. What I like about the Ironman tent is the price. It is very budget friendly. If you are new to overlanding and all you can afford is the bare bones minimum rooftop tent, the Ironman is a good option. I mean, will give you the roof over your head you want. It'll give you that overlanding experience. It'll give you being off the ground, you know, some more weather protection than being in a ground tent. It'll give you all those things. It just won't do it nicely. I also like how low profile the Ironman tent is, and I kind of like just the weight of it. It's a very light tent. It's probably, I mean, it feels maybe be 40 pounds lighter than the 23Zero tent. I mean, it's a significantly lighter tent. However, a lot of that has to do with it's got a plastic bottom. The foam mattress is yay thick. Everything in it is flimsy and thin. The ladder is super flimsy. It's obviously a much lighter ladder because it's a lighter quality. Everything in it is reflective of the price because it is lesser quality. Now, what do I like about the 23Zero? Let's start off with what it fixed from the Ironman tents. I love the latches. The only drawback in its nitpicking is the latches have to be locked, otherwise they will flap. You can't just kind of, you know, compress them down and they stay. You have to lock them, which takes an extra couple seconds to do each one because there's 4 of them, 2 front, 2 back, because it is a cantilever style. But again, not a big deal. I would much rather be able to lock it and have a quick, easy access, you know, draw buckle. I mean, it's just a beautiful latch system they have. I love it. And I would take it over the Ironman every time. Now, the other thing I like about the 23Zero is the mattress. I love the light suppression technology. I like how dark it gets in there. I like the feel of the fabric. It's just super nice. The mattress is super thick and cushy, and just even sitting on it with just my butt on it, which is like the not you know, distributing that weight across the long big surface. It's putting it all in one pinpointed area. It's still comfortable. It's just, I can't tell you how nice that mattress is. It is 10 times better than the Ironman by far. I also like the look of the 23Zero. I like the ladder. It's way stronger, way sturdier. It doesn't creak when you're getting up and down. The platform stays flat right when you pull it out. It's much quicker to deploy in my mind because I'm dealing with those 2 less rods, and it's more stable having that bar you can just push up and you can vary the height of it. It's just very intuitive. I just really like this 23Zero tent. It's checking all the boxes for me. Now, the real question is it worth it at full retail being $1,000 more than the Ironman tent? You're talking $2,500 at full retail compared to $3,500 full retail at 23Zero. Now, I bought my Ironman tent on like super sale. I think it was 30% off, and you got a free 270 awning with it. So that was a great deal. It's hard to argue with those when you can find deals like that, not jumping on them, and that's exactly what I did. Now, I don't know if 23Zero has sales. I've never actually seen them on sale. If you know, comment below. Let me know if you know when the sales are happening, because I mean, if I can save a few dollars, I'm definitely down for doing that. Now, the real question is the 23Zero Armadillo X2 worth that extra $1,000 over the Ironman Nomad 1300? And for me, the answer is yes, every time. Yes, you can buy the Ironman and you can re-glue the back wall because that bothered me. You can re-seam seal all the seams. If you've got, I think it's 20 bucks for a tube of seam sealer and a full day to peel the old stuff off and re-seal it, yes, you can 100% do that. You can spend 200 bucks on Amazon and buy a new mattress to replace the old mattress, and that is very comfortable. And that's what I've done as a hack to be better sleeping in that tent. So yes, you can do all those things, but for me, I don't want to purchase a tent and then have to spend weekends making it what it should have been from the factory. So in my mind, it's worth the extra $1,000 to get the 23Zero, especially if you can get it on sale and get something, you know, whether they offer a free sleeping bag or something in addition to it, that would make it more enticing to buy. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some real good insights as to why these tents are so expensive and what makes a good tent expensive and what makes a not so good tent inexpensive. If you guys liked it, hit that thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe below. It helps the channel grow, and I will see you guys next time.